Welcome to It's All Fine and Danjee, where we talk about community, health, culture, and all of the big and little things that make life good. Here are your hosts, Dan and Angie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 76 of the It's All Fine and Danjee podcast.
This is an interesting one.
Yes, it is. So we are actually recording from our kayaks today on the beautiful Wekiva River.
Yes, we just set in at King's Landing, which is a spot we're going to talk a little bit about, but you can set in there here in Central Florida in Apopka, and they, you pay them to rent a canoe, or you can pay them to launch your own. We launched our own today.
We sure did. And we are going to take this river all the way down to Wekiva Island, one of our favorite local hangouts, nice little hot spot, and get a couple drinks at the end of our kayak run and relax a bit because we are in no rush today. It is the middle of the week. It is a Wednesday, and there's not many people on the river, so nobody's going to ruin my nature.
Nature.
So we are excited. We got our kayaks loaded up and ready to go. Got our sunblock on, of course. And we are just so happy to be out and about, conversating with people that are passers-by on their paddleboards, kayaks, canoes, whatever they may be on.
Yeah, you guys might hear some of the wildlife out here. The run that we're going to do, they call it Rock Springs Run. It's about 4 or 5 hours. It's almost 9 miles, and it starts at King's Landing, and as Angie said, it ends at Wekiva Island. So we're really excited to do that. Last time we were out here, we actually went upstream a couple miles to the Rock Springs Park, which we'll talk a little more about later. We did what's called Emerald Cut. It's beautiful, white
crystal
sandy
clear
bottoms. Yeah, really nice.
Yes, and I'm excited to hopefully see some gators out here today. I know most people don't get excited about that, but I love seeing the gators. I love seeing all the people that bring their doggies out here on the river, and we already had an encounter with a dog, and I can hear him in the background, and I want to go back and play with him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he was excited to play with you, and you're like the dog whisperer.
I love the doggies. I love them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our show this week. We do not have a guest this week because our guest had an emergency.
And we've had two guests with 2 emergencies. These are legit emergencies.
Legit.
We're not going to point them out, but we're just going to send some positive thoughts out there to him and his family, and we're glad to hear everything's okay.
But we do have them rescheduled, so both of our guests that missed their scheduled show, we will have them on in the future. So We're excited to have them on.
Yeah, me too.
Are you ready to get going?
Let's get going. All right, we'll check back in a bit. We're going to paddle a little further down the river right now. There's this big, what kind of bird is that? Do you know?
An egret?
Maybe an egret. There's a huge egret walking right up next to me out here, and there's gators out here, and fish, of course, and snakes, and
we got our GoPros ready to go.
Bears. Oh, we do, yeah. Deer. We've seen deer out here in the river before. Lots of birds, and even Florida panthers if you get lucky.
Yeah, we've seen the deer right in the water out here, which has been really cool to see them like that.
Oh, there's a wind.
Yay!
All right, well, we'll check back in. We'll talk to you guys in just a bit. I'm maybe 50 yards ahead of Angie at this minute, so it's just me, but that sound you might hear in the background is what we refer to as like a puddle jumper plane flying over. It's really the only sign of civilization out here once you get a couple miles out, especially on a day like today where it's not really heavily populated. You might be able to hear the crickets and the various bugs in the background, but when you get out here early like this, it's really serene and peaceful. We've seen turtles already, 1 gator, and it's hard to describe how nice it is out here. We're going to post a video this week as well with some clips of the trip and some information about King's Landing, about Wekiva Island, about the Wekiva River, the Rock Springs Run, the Rock Springs Park, and all the various things you can do out here. If you live in the Central Florida area, you surely know about all this, but if you are traveling to the area anytime soon, maybe you'll find this interesting and informative. In the meantime, I'm going to pull over and let Angie get ahead of me now.
So what I am loving about being on the Wekiva River right now is that we have not encountered hardly anybody for probably the past
20 minutes maybe?
Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. We have seen like 4 gators, Tons of turtles, birds, of course. I think we'd be really excited if we could see an otter.
Otter would be cool.
I'd love to see a bear up on the side.
I would too, or a deer. But you know what's cool about it, when you get out to this spot or this section, I don't know if you looked on a map how far away we are from a road or anything else, but it certainly feels like you're out in the middle of nowhere. You don't hear anything. I know I mentioned this before, but now it's like, just listen for a second. It's just dead silent. It stays like that out here when there's, so few people.
Yeah.
So we'll hear gators.
I love it when it's like that. It's just so relaxing, and
I know. I love it.
It brings you to a place that people seek all the time through meditation and different things like that. To me, this is my meditation.
Yeah.
This is my medicine, basically.
Yeah, I understand totally.
Just love being out here. Now, I know if we go wherever we're at on the river, we are, I believe, in Wekiwa Springs State Park territory. Like, if we got out on the land and kind of walked up, we'd be in that state park. Yeah. But I do know that when you come down this river, you can veer to the right at one point and go up into the springs and actually park your canoe there or your kayak and actually get out and swim in the little swimming hole up there.
Indeed, you can. And up in the Rock Springs Park, this forest is huge. It backs up against Wekiva Springs Park, Rock Springs Park, some of the campgrounds. And all these places have like bike trails, hiking trails, places for primitive camping like tents. And some of them even have where you can, bring like a pop-up tent kind of thing. But they also have, along the river, when we get a little further down, there's primitive camping off the river. And the only way you can get to the campsites, some of the campsites out here, is by a kayak or a canoe, coming down the river. So it's really neat. I haven't done it since I was a kid, but that primitive camping up there, they've got a little picnic table, fire pit, space to put a tent. It's pretty much it right on the river.
That is the type of camping I do for one whole night.
Yes. I can do it for a couple nights, but especially right on this clear river, because you can get up in the morning and jump in the river and wake up and get refreshed and cleaned off and, cook breakfast right on the edge of the river, go hiking. Really nice stuff. It's a little hot out right now to do it, but,
People still do it in this heat, though. Camping is more of a winter activity to myself, though.
Yeah, me too.
That is when I like to go, which I think for my birthday in November, we are planning a camping trip. So that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
We are going to visit the Cavern State Park up in the Pensacola area. And those are really cool because they actually take you at like a little elevator that takes you down into underground where the aquifer has carved out like a little caves.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
What are they called? Stalactites and
stalagmites. One of the things I've always wanted to do is like spelunking.
I want to do that so bad.
I know this isn't quite that, but it'd still be neat. Now, we're going past another tree that's down, so we have a little tiny channel of water to squeeze through here. And we're squeezing through it, but it's not as cleared out as it normally is. It's not really that bad, but I think it's partially because no one else is doing the full run because there's no shuttles, as I mentioned. So Angie and I noticed, and it'll be on the YouTube video we're going to post, we already came to one spot where this big tree was down across the whole river, and we had to strategize how to get out. Angie climbed out of her kayak and pulled it over, and I kind of launched myself off a limb. So it's sometimes you really have to get out and get over, but for the most part, it's just kind of peaceful, smooth sailing, isn't it?
Yeah, they usually keep it very cleared out. But this is nothing compared to our kayak adventure that we had. Extreme kayaking.
I mentioned that earlier when I was doing a little clip by myself, but yeah, that was, as I said, we barely made it back before dark, but that was a little scary. And we learned from that, first off, when they tell you it's impassable, they probably know, even if you're from here, like we are. Secondly, and we were, of course, like, no, it's fine. But secondly, if you are going out, it's still a good idea to bring a flashlight or a lighter and a knife and some basic things that, this is really pretty easy. You're not going to end up in trouble, but it's good to be a little prepared,
Yeah, so now I did actually read on one of the Facebook groups that we're on, the Kayaking Facebook group. There, I got it out. They have like a suggestion of a little list of things to kind of make sure that you always have on you, mainly for people that are going by themselves kayaking. But I thought a good thing on there was like a whistle.
Oh, that is a great idea, actually.
Rope, like how you had mentioned earlier, a little bit of like tie-off rope or something like that. A poncho, throwaway poncho, just in case.
Yeah.
A thermal blanket, like one of those tinfoil ones that they use like in the spaceships.
Oh, that's like getting serious. Yeah.
These are for people that go by themselves, though.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a bad thing, just like a little kit that you keep, that you take every time.
Yeah.
And, of course, like a lighter and, I'd put like mosquito spray and stuff like that in there. But I thought that was a pretty cool suggestion.
I think so, too, yeah.
A whistle is probably a good idea, though, just in case of a real emergency where you're hurt or something.
Right.
And first aid was in there, too. We never bring any first aid.
That is smart. If you guys heard that, that was a wild GoPro out here. It's like Matt, a friend of mine, Matt, is very, very prepared for these kinds of things. So, I guess you can never be too prepared, but if you're thinking about coming out here with your family, it's not like that. It's really very casual, and you really don't need much.
Well, really, you can get cell phone signal on this river as well. So if you need some help, you could actually call.
Yeah.
But there are those rivers that aren't as populated with people, kayakers and such. We're lucky that we have something like this 3 miles from our house.
We really are, yes.
Where we can just bring our kayaks, jump on the river, know that in 4 or 5 hours we've gotten some exercise, we've gotten our nature in.
Yes.
And we've had a nice relaxing day, and then we can end with a couple drinks at the end as our reward.
I was going to say, and ending at Wekiva Island. We'll talk a little bit more about the island when we get there. But, they've got a great bar. They've got a great wine room. They've got a great food truck. It's right on the river. The whole place, you can rent cabanas, like tented seating areas for you and your friends and family for the day. All the rates are very reasonable. And you can find out a lot more about Wekiva Island if you listen to episode 17 of the podcast. So we interviewed Bill and Mary Weinog, the owners of the island, good friends of ours.
Yes, and I know that Bill and Mary have been very diligent during COVID-19 with following, all the safety precautions for their employees, for their patrons. And we're just happy that they're able to be back open. And I do know that they've been limiting capacity, so it wouldn't be normally like how it is. It's really jam-packed down there because it's really the hot spot. It is the place to go in the Longwood, Apopka area for, swimming and activities and some reasonably priced drinks in a safe environment.
Yep, volleyball. They do what's called cornhole with the bean bags that go in the little holes. They have the paint out. They have so much stuff, too much talk about here. If you just heard that noise, that was another little spot in the river where we're squeezing between limbs and stuff because trees are down. So it's getting a little more narrow right now, but it's so awesome out here today.
And you know what else I love about Wekiva Island is sometimes when you have places like that, are serving beverages, it's not the best environment for kids to be, but that's not how it is at Wekiva Island.
Oh, no, I agree.
So the kids can swim, there's, people aren't acting crazy. It's everybody's there to just have a good time, but relax, respect the environment that they're in. And that's the other thing, that there's a baby gator right there.
Oh, there is a baby gator right there. I don't want to mess with him. He's too little.
No.
I mean, I really don't want to mess with any of them, but I don't want to try to get too close and get a picture.
Angie's a hawkeye for gators, though.
She really is.
I can find him.
We just passed a baby alligator. Maybe what, 2 feet long?
Yeah, he's like he's not a baby, but he's maybe a toddler.
Yeah. So back to what Angie was saying, though, they, it's a great time. It's very relaxed and casual, but, it's a no-nonsense place. They do have a police officer that comes and hangs out for the day and the night, just to kind of make sure things don't get, out of control out there.
To keep it a family-friendly environment.
And it's really fun. We've been going out there for a long time, but we are going to wrap up this segment, and we'll be back in a bit. We'll hear some thunder rolling in the distance. So we might get rained on out here.
I don't got that beat right.
What is that?
Thunder.
Oh.
All right. Am I stopping?
All right. That's a good place to stop. All right. We'll come back and chat with you guys in a bit. Also, when you're out here, you can often hear the alligators. They make this noise. It's hard to do, but it's like almost sounds like a giant bullfrog. Sort of a loud, bassy, squeaking noise, if that makes any sense. It's not that noise. That is some sort of bug. But maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an alligator call on audio here a little bit later this morning or later today. So this river that we're going down cuts through almost 14,000 acres of wildlife. So you can imagine that your odds of seeing some really cool wildlife out here are pretty good odds.
So we are on the second half of our kayaking adventure. So we just passed the halfway mark. We are at our second primitive camping area, which is called Indian Mound Camp. This one sits right on the river where you don't have to walk back to it or anything. It's really super cool. So we have a little ways more to go, but the water's clearing up a little bit. The current's a little stronger, so it's taken us, hopefully it'll take us a little less time to get to the very end because we're both looking forward to a drink, very much so. And we've seen lots of wildlife today, lots of great scenery pictures, and the water's super high on the river right now. If you come out kayaking, just be careful of any of the fallen trees that are underneath because they will catch the bottom of your boat and scare you to think you're tipping over. So be careful of that. But there is some clear spots where you can get out and swim. The water here isn't crystal blue like at Rock Springs or any of the springs, but it is like a kind of a clear sulfury water. But we're having a good time. Oh, look, there's another turtle. Hello, Mr. Turtle.
So King's Landing is the place where you can set in with your own canoes, kayaks, or paddle boards for a minimal fee, or you can actually rent canoes from them, or kayaks. They have tandem kayaks and regular kayaks and canoes. There's even a company there that rents those clear canoes. We haven't done that yet, but that would be pretty cool because you can see through the bottom of them, and some parts of this river are very clear. And if you watch the video, you'll think the water's black, but it's really the sediment on the bottom. The water's crystal clear. It just looks black because you can't see, you're looking right into the black bottom. All right.
Alrighty then.
And we're back. And we just saw, going down the river here, we just saw a buck, a male deer, a big one.
Oh my gosh.
Right up on the water. I don't know that much about deer, but he was a full-grown deer. He was big.
Angie was trying to record with her camera, so I didn't actually visually see him with my eyeballs, which I'm really bummed about. But
well, I had my GoPro going, but I did watch him with my eyes, and it was amazing. He turned and looked at me and didn't run off or anything, just kept slowly walking and munching on whatever kind of greenery out here. So those are the kind of things you can see out here on the river. And then, it's the second time we've seen a deer.
Yes, and then I just saw a tiny little baby gator sitting on a little log, less than 12 inches long.
And I went right past him and didn't see him.
Yeah, buddy, I got the eyeball for it.
You do. You're like the ninja for seeing gators or whatever.
Look how clear this water is right here.
Oh, no, it's so nice. This is a good swimming spot.
This is a swimming spot right here, but I don't want to get out.
So we're probably about a half a mile from Wekiva Island. Beautiful day. Got a little overcast, didn't rain, had some shade. We went to the Big Buck camp and got out and kind of walked around for a minute, but the mosquitoes were pretty bad today. Water level's pretty high, but man, if you get a chance to get out on the Wekiva River, Rock Springs Run, you gotta do it. It is just beautiful. We've done it countless times and it never gets old.
And apparently now, if you do it during the week, since society is getting back to normal, there's not anybody out here, which is
Really?
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 5 or 8 people up until the first tree was down, and then once we got past that tree, we haven't seen another human being all day. So if you want like a really peaceful, quiet time to do this, I mean, it's fun when there's people here. But if you just want a peaceful time to do this on your own, this time of year, right now especially, great time to do it if you can take off a day in the middle of the week. That's what I did.
I hear people.
Angie just saw
A little baby gator.
another gator.
Yes.
Another one. Yeah, he's probably 4 footer.
No, that one back there is maybe like 2 foot, 2
Oh,
or
you
3
think
foot.
2 footer? Okay, maybe 2 feet.
Yeah,
But so that makes an even 10. I said I hope we get to see 10 today.
we saw 10.
And we're not all the way back yet.
No,
So
not yet. Hey, what are you going to get to drink?
what am I going to get to drink? I'm probably going to get either. That's a tough call. They have the Wekiva swamp water beer, which is like an amber ale kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to get that.
I am going to get one of their wine-based vodka.
Bloody Marys.
Bloody Marys.
Yes, those are amazing.
So delicious. We made it.
All right, we are sitting here having a snack from the food truck.
And a refreshing adult beverage.
And a refreshing beverage sitting right on the water. And we're talking a little low because we're kind of like in a restaurant area now.
So, in the shade, because we've been in the sun all day.
Yeah.
They did not have my favorite thing here. So they have, at Wekiva Island, they have this wine-based vodka that they make a Bloody Mary out of.
Oh, yes. You were telling us before about that. I've had
It's amazing. And they
Very
don't
good.
have it because they just opened back up today.
Yeah,
So,
and so they've got a little bit of a limited option right now. They've got a handful of seltzers, the Bud Light seltzers, a bunch of different flavors. They've got maybe 6 or 8 different beer flavors. The typical Budweiser kind of stuff, but then also some exotic stuff. I've got the, what do I have here? Longboard Island Lager, which is very good.
Mm-hmm.
We're having some coconut shrimp and fries.
from Without a Paddle Cafe.
That's right by the water here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great way to wrap up the day. This place is just opened back up. We've been coming here for years. Can't recommend the place enough. And it's a perfect end to a perfect day.
It really is. And there's not a lot of people here. Of course, it is a Wednesday in the middle of the week, but normally on a Wednesday would be packed in here. So
Yeah.
I think since they just opened back up, people probably don't know that they're open back
Yeah.
up yet. But it'll start getting busy on the weekends again, I'm sure.
Yes, so we'll put all the links in the show description below that we talked about today for Wekiva Island, for King's Landing, for all the stuff there is to do out here, and all the different businesses associated with our day. Such a great day. Highly recommend, especially right now. Like I said, if you can take a day off in the middle of the week, it's not crowded at all. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to get out, do something fun. You can still keep your social distancing thing. Everybody's doing that here. You're out on the river. You're away from everybody else. I can't say enough good things about it.
I can't either. I'm so happy to be out on the river again. I don't know if that's a song, but I just made it.
Well, it is now.
Just around the river bend.
Oh,
I
here we
didn't
go.
sing that today.
You didn't?
Man,
That's a
I should have
first.
sang that one. That's like my go-to song when we're on the river. What the heck?
All right, guys, we want to thank you for joining us as we do every single solid week. And we have a great show lined up for you next week, kind of fitting back in where we've had a couple of those guests that had to cancel. So we're really excited. Don't want to say too much until we get a bit closer.
Yep.
But we'll be posting on our social media and giving more details as we get closer. But we want to remind you guys, like we always do, at the end of each and every day,
It's all fine and dandy.